Susan, let's talk about POTAG. They went to court, and subsequently there's been a declaration, etc.
Well, I mean, I think that the court says that they should go, has ordered compulsory arbitration, and both parties seem happy with it. From what I hear, the ministry is happy with it. I think that POTAG, from what I heard, also is happy with it. Compulsory arbitration means that they go back to the negotiating table, you know, and when they must draw again and come to an amicable conclusion. So I think it's good. I know that in compulsory arbitration, it means that they have to go back to work and be talking, because you cannot, you know, be doing something different and then be negotiating. So I hope that they follow the orders of the court and resolve it. It's been going on for the last 8 weeks or so. You know, they've been out of the classrooms for like, or the lecture, for the last 8 weeks, and it affects the academic timetable. And not just that, looking down, it affects the workforce. You know, because your polytechnic are your you know, practical, you know, middle workforce that push the engines of growth in the industry, etc., etc. Now, if you are going to, you know, have that stall, you know, it's problematic. And these are things that we may not see the effect today, but we'll see it in the future. Years, yeah. And so we need to make sure that, you know, it's resolved and they go back to
in going forward. We've had a number of these strike actions, and we know that on this very subject, UTAG had also given some level of alliance or some level of solidarity with what POTAG was protesting about, the book and research allowance, and following that, the establishment of the research fund. How do we make sure, as well, sectoral industries, we tend to negotiate with employers, and this time we're talking about mainstream employer government, in a way that we also seem to be very empathetic, even though we know there are difficulties within the economy and the workers are also facing some difficulties as well?
Well, I guess, you know, sometimes it's the appearance of things.
Meaning what?
Meaning that you want to empathize. Then all of a sudden you hear that they are flying 3 million somewhere. You get it. It may not be logical, but when you think about it, your people will just, you know,
start questioning where priorities
are. You get it. Maybe that 3 million, I hear it's not our money, it's FIFA that is giving it. But the impression that was created was that it was mopped up immediately. Even if FIFA is going to pay it back,
you mopped it up.
You mopped it up. You see. Okay. So somebody wants to empathize or is thinking about it, and then sees something that they think is frivolous. Okay, and then they decide, okay, I'm taking a harder stand than I did before. So you see, they said what Caesar's wife. It's not just the sin; it's the appearance of the sin. You get it. We, as government or the administration, they need to do things in such a manner that people will not take hard stands, you know, from seemingly frivolous actions that they have taken. And I think that is how, you know, it looks, because we look like a country with no priorities, you know. Students are crying foul in Cuba, you know, student nurses.
Not only in Cuba, in the UK, etc. Those on scholarship.
Okay, those are, you know, are crying that they haven't been paid. And the CHAG has said that they are pulling out of the NHIS and that they are not going to accept it because the hospitals are collapsing. And it's not just the hospitals that are collapsing, it's the pharmaceutical businesses, you know. And look at that.
There's a chain of it.
There's a chain of it.
Of sectors or industries that are also attached to all these.
Yes, a chain of it.
And they're all suffering.
And they're all suffering. So it's not just the hospitals, you know, because if the hospitals collapse, the pharmaceutical businesses will collapse. And there will be sick people out there own businesses that will also collapse, you know. And so we need to prioritize. You know, we are sitting here student nurses or psychiatric student nurses say they haven't been paid 2 years. We'll be here very soon. Today I hear cocoa farmers are also claiming something. It looks like the country is falling about our ears. Oh yes.
Don't make it look so so gloomy.
No, I'm not making it look gloomy. I'm stating it as a matter of fact. I'm not. You see, there's practicality and there's gloominess and there's.
You mean we have to be real?
Unnecessary optimism. I call myself an Afro optimist. Okay, I believe that Africa can rise above its problems and get to where we ought to be, because God has given us so much.
Potential.
Especially in this country, Ghana, God has given us so much. Yet we are not using the things that we have. It's like the man who was given 1 talent, and he went to bury it. We are even worse than the one who went to bury it. Now, we not only did we bury it, we smashed it into bits before we buried it. So when the owner comes, those with 5 talents are coming with 10, those with 3 are coming with more, and we that were given that one, we've messed it up. I think that as a country we need to set up. We really do need to set up, all of us, and the government who we have put into place to work for us needs to be on its toes to ensure that priorities are set. What has to be done is done, and then people can begin to empathize with them. But if not, I'm sorry, nobody will empathize. Everybody would want their pound of flesh.
Okay, so now if we're negotiating, then it means that we also need to have the priorities right, and whatever happened doesn't happen again. But according to the government spokespeople, government will always be in arrears somehow. Even companies and even individuals sometimes are always in arrears or have some certain liabilities.
But that is why we have to prioritize. You see, you may be in arrears of certain things, and because they are not life and death, it's okay. You get it. But if you are in arrears of essential things, okay, NHIS, look. I was speaking to some businessman. He was saying that he has paid taxes of over 6 million this year. Of that, 2.5 of it goes to NHIS. He's not the only businessman who has paid taxes. That 2.5 of it is going to NHIS. If you bring in a car, some 2.5 of it, what they calculate as duty, goes to NHIS. People are bringing in cars every day. Where is that money going to? What black hole is that NHIS money going to? You get it? It has to collapse hospital. Look, the faith-based hospitals are virtually the lifesavers in certain districts.
Because they run on the missionary funding activities, etc.
They are in places where nobody is. You understand? They do. I used to work in a missionary a mission hospital. Okay, we used to go around sourcing drugs from aid agencies outside this Ghana, Action Medor, IDA, etc., which were generic quality drugs, and we brought them and sold them to the people cheaper than the generic drugs that you could find on the market here. And so everybody came to that mission hospital, you understand, because they got good service, good quality drugs at a cheaper price, and we were a lifesaver there. Now if at that time Tosca Shankari, you've shifted to NHIS, how are they even going to manage to do that? And when you collapse that hospital, you've collapsed it for the whole of that district and the surrounding districts. You get it? We need to prioritize. You always be in arrears, yes. Depends on what you are in arrears of. I mean, look, if your child's school fees is paid and you are arrears at your sports bar for a few bottles of beer, isn't that okay? But if you are paid up at your sports bar with your few bottles of beer and your child's fees are not paid, what kind of priorities are you setting? So I think that is how it should be. Arrears will be there. Government will always be in arrears, whatever. But as long as people are paying taxes and specific taxes. Let's get those things paid for. Where's the Get Fund? I thought I heard somebody saying the other time that Get Fund monies have to be paid to the Get Fund because they have to move the money from the consolidated fund and give it.
What's happening is that many of those statutory payments have to be made from the consolidated fund because they are collected into. They don't have specific accounts.
But maybe it's not working.
So we need to make some amendments.
I guess so. We need to make, because it's not working.
Because it means that we're spending monies.
Yeah, because it's becoming a black hole.
For other things.
Look, let me give you an example. Hospitals that have their drug account managed by the pharmacist, okay, never really run short of drugs because the pharmacist plies back the money into ensuring that the pharmacy is stocked.
Once it goes into a central account.
Yes, pharmacies that are the money is going to a central account and it's signed by the medical superintendent. Oh, please. The pharmacies are all, it's messed up. And you find that this is a pharmacy that is always in dire straits. They don't have enough to serve and it affects all. Because the medical superintendent is going to use it to buy a swivel chair or an A8.
The priority.
You understand?
Don't remind me of the biggest hospital.
No, but you see, but that is what happens. If we need to change the laws to ensure that monies don't go into a black hole, but if it is Get Fund, this is your account. As soon as the money comes, this is yours. It's paid into yours. This is the NHIS account. It immediately goes. Maybe we will not be having this, but as for that consolidated black hole, please.
Okay, we've just been told that by the close of the week, that's the last week, government had paid in excess 370, we're told, just to defray the arrears for the statutory payments. So for the district assemblies, and we also have the Get Fund, the NHI.
Well, it depends on. You see, you make it sound like 300 million is some big money.
Yeah,
look,
that's what they owe them up to date.
If you owe me, let's say you owe me 1,000,
even though it's not accrued.
You owe me 1,800 cedis, and I say, oh, get 30 cedis to defray the cost, please. Let's not go there. It's a drop in the bucket to the things that they owe into ensuring that things will run properly. So let's not make it sound like it's some big money that has been paid.
Well, I wish you a very good week, and thanks for joining us, Susan. Susan Edwa-Monkwa is a vice chairperson for the Convention People's Party, and we'll say thank you very much for joining us for AM Talk. Earlier on also, she was joined alongside by Joseph Niade Kuka, the chairman of NDC Greater Accra. We had some interesting discussion on the subject. Please log on to our Facebook page, join us on TV. We also have a short code 1760. And as you get interactive, please know that we also have a lot more videos we've uploaded on our channel on YouTube, My Joy Online. I wanted to ask you this before you go, though. I think I forgot. The Archbishop of Canterbury. Yes, okay, you wanted to talk about the Volta.
The Akosombo Volta Lake thing. I think we're not really paying attention. But it's really it's dropping every day. The level is 74, 66 meters. And the lowest level is 73. So that we only have about, a meter, and we are in dire straits. I think that...
And if they shut down some of the turbines, then
we are in trouble.
We are back to doom.
We are back to doom. So okay. Maybe we need to brace ourselves for it. These are the things that we should be looking at and planning our lives, and look at it and say, wow,
Okay, the Archbishop of Canterbury has welcomed the Church of England's historic vote to allow women to become bishops. You're a Catholic, I know, but this one, I think, is linked to Anglicans.
Yes, I think that the Anglicans, for the last maybe 20 years, have allowed women to be priests. So if you've allowed her to be a priest, why not allow her to
ascend to the position of a bishop?
Yeah. So you don't want her to be promoted. She asks for she comes and she's lower level. No, I think that it's a step in the right direction. Once they have women priests, I think they should allow them to aspire to the highest office. That one is just fair, and I wish them luck. I think it was John Paul, and they were talking together about bringing the Church of England together. And the issue that actually stopped the Church of England and the Roman Catholic Church coming together was the issue of women priests.
Okay, I will ask you because they say you're a woman, so I ask you, what's your opinion about the component of the loan that was taken to buy the sanitary pads?
I'm a public health specialist.
And you think it's good?
And I think it is good. Let me give you the explanation. But I would have preferred it packaged in a proper manner. I would have preferred that it was packaged in such that sanitary, not sanitary pads, but sanitation as a whole. Because if you take the pads alone and you don't put the proper infrastructure in place to ensure that the pads achieve the results, it's of no use. In the first place, if you give her pads, okay, and there are no toilet facilities for her to change and feel comfortable in changing.
Or she can change in the dormitory or in the room. That's
well, it's not just
you change for the day, or sometimes you can change several times in the day.
No, but if there are not enough toilet facilities there, okay, or the toilet facilities are not good enough, she will find it difficult. And then it's not just the borders, you understand? They're giving it all across, day students, whatever. We have had sanitation problems or toilet facility problems in our schools. So you must put that infrastructure there to ensure that she's able to change whatever. Because if you give her the pad and she's unable to find a convenient place to change, there's no point. Now, if you give her the pad and there isn't a proper disposal system, you have another problem coming on. So the pad in itself is not a problem. I think that the infrastructure to make sure that what the pad was supposed to achieve needs to be put into place, and we need to look at it holistically, in terms of making sure that there are proper sanitation facilities, there's water flowing, she can change, she can wash her hands, she can change in a convenient place, and things like that. Then it makes the sanitary pad much more meaningful. But on its own, without the proper infrastructure support, a good thing may go to waste. So I'm not against it. No, not at all. Because I know for a fact that studies have shown that when you improve the sanitation facilities, it allows the girl child to access education better. Because she will miss 3 or 4 days out of school because of her period. She doesn't have the proper things. She doesn't want to be embarrassed. She will not go. And so if every month she's missing 3 or 4 days, you get it. Then you know what is happening, you see. So in some ways it's good, but the proper infrastructure must be put into place to make sure that it becomes useful.
Has it been a reason why people don't go to school?
It has been. Okay. It has been.
Was it a reason for you?
No, because I was fortunate enough to be able to afford to have...
There are some who can't afford.
Yes, there are some who can't afford or don't even know how to use it. Or you get it.
And as a result, it could truncate the ability to go to school and affect the academic work?
Yes, if you are going to miss 3 or 4... I mean, the normal cycle is 5 to 7 days. Some people have 3, but let's say that 5 days. The average girl, every month, she's missing 5 days. Out of school.
Is she missing because of the cramps or okay, let's not get into the argument. So that waits for the morning, and thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
And Susan is vice chairperson for CPP, and we're taking a break from here. Mama V Owusu Abuaji will be here with legal practitioner Dr. Maurice Ampar. He is the president of the Legal Advocacy Foundation, and they'll be talking about rentals in Ghana, what laws also need to be obeyed as far as the rental laws or regulations are concerned, and what the responsibility of the landlord or whoever is giving you the household is to you, the tenant. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.